Ready? We're good? Darren,
Yeah,
shot put. Fuck.
Yeah,
Oh,
just go. Just go.
This is why I ask.
Just go.
All right. Hello, fellow fumblers, and welcome to another episode of the Film Fumblers podcast, the show where four friends fumble through your favorite films. Today, we are reviewing Minari, a movie released in 2020 and directed by Lee Isaac Chung. So without further ado, my name's Adrian.
I'm Jay.
I'm Taryn.
What's up? It's James.
All right, boys. Let's jump into these shots. Get this shot over with.
Kaz biting me. Oh my god. Cheers, bros. Cheers, chat.
Cheers.
Do we have?
Cheers.
Do we have to?
Oh, just did.
Swallowed that wrong. Ow.
Oh, man. It's always a dice roll on the shots. It's like, is it going to go down smooth today?
Never.
I don't know. Didn't
Actually, that was pretty damn smooth. That was that Russian shit I got.
What was it?
Vodka or-
Vodka, dude. 92 points rated for $11. Total
What?
wine. Yeah.
$11
And it's
for,
good?
is it a 750 ml?
It was pretty damn good. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Straight from Russia.
Straight.
But it's
I
not
put it in the
platinum.
freezer, though. I put it in the freezer immediately.
Oh, okay.
7X.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. I'm drinking tequila. It's coming up.
Oh.
Let me put on my mask.
I
Oh, God. The listeners aren't going to get that one. I don't know if
Yeah.
they want to.
Yeah. Sorry,
We won't
guys.
rehash that.
All right. Anyway, Minari. All right. So came out in 2020. When in 2020 did this come out?
It was towards the end,
Oh,
I
wait.
remember, right?
It's
November,
says
maybe?
that's interesting. So on the like, if you just Google the movie, it says release date February 12th, 2021 in the USA. So
Widely available on that day, yeah.
oh, okay.
Like, you could
okay.
actually just
Oh,
rent
I
okay.
think it was.
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
festival.
say.
Yeah, it was at Sundance, 2020, January 26th.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
And I
So
think it was
early in 2020 for
in theaters
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
while, wherever they could be.
yeah, wherever theaters.
Or maybe that was
could
also
exist.
February. I don't know. But yeah. Been looking
Yeah,
forward to
because
watching this
I was
for a long time.
surprised. Yeah, I was surprised that this wasn't a 2021. Like, but I mean, kind of is. I mean,
Mhm.
for us it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I assume first viewing for all of us hasn't been out very long.
hmm
So yeah, any opening thoughts?
Oh, it's starting to
Good
get
job.
a little bit of that. Is it the Oscars? Oh my goodness. I'm
Yep.
not the man for this job.
I mean, I think so.
Because I don't care about rich people giving other rich people awards. But
Right.
anyways, that's
Preach it,
another
brother.
story for another time. But it's starting to get a little bit of buzz, just like myself here.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, Stephen Yun is one of two Asian Americans. I don't know if what's the fella from Sound of Metal's name?
Riz Ahmed.
Riz Ahmed.
Riz Ahmed is also nominated for Best Actor, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
really?
So both first timers of their races, which is a little disappointing in the
Yeah.
year 2021.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you gotta have it somewhere. I mean, at least it's finally happening.
Yeah.
You know, it's gotta start
Yeah.
sometime. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, right into it. I mean, I know Stephen Yeun. I guess that's how we're gonna say it. I'm not great for his name, but from The Walking Dead. So
hmm
I don't know,
Yeah.
Walking Dead fans. Yeah, and I loved him in that. Like he was so good in that, and just nice to see him play a big role and like be
Yeah.
in something this big. You know, pretty cool.
Yeah.
A24. Jay hasn't mentioned that yet. I'm surprised.
I was
Yeah.
saving that, but yeah, man. You know, it's got that beautiful opening with the A and 24 and it makes it, and it's all cool. But you know, as soon as the movie opens, when the first shot appears on the screen, you're just like, "Yep, okay, here we go." Because
Yep.
it's always beautiful.
Always.
It's always
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Okay, but this is Plan B Entertainment. This is Brad Pitt's little side project. So does he have a little bit of
I'm
props
sure
here
he
for
just he
for
fronts
this
some
one?
cash.
Shout
I'm
out to
sure he
Brad
doesn't do
Pitt.
much else.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Brad Pitt.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, I think going back to the Oscars thing really quick. It's interesting that because it was also nominated for Best Picture,
Yeah.
and they're saying it's a South Korean film,
Dude,
and
oh
it's
my
the
God.
second one following Parasite.
Yeah.
But it's like, is this a South Korean film? I feel
No.
like that's pretty fucked up.
Oh.
Yeah, like we watched the Golden Globes.
Didn't it win the Golden Globe?
for
Yeah.
international feature where it takes
Foreign
place in
language.
America, foreign language, sorry.
Yeah,
Takes place in America, made
which
by
is like,
Americans. Like it's just like, come on,
it's
guys.
really interesting because we're hitting this point in like America. Well, no, we've always kind of been here, but like, especially now we're hitting this point in like American society where there are so many different kinds of people who live here that like, how can you pin down these categories, right? To be like, I don't know, the term foreign language just doesn't really hit it, right? Because
Yeah.
like it's spoken all over this country. Like, I don't know. How do you got to change up these fucking categories, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not going to stick for much longer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, luckily it was just for best picture and not best fucking international movies that what the Oscars do. So at least they did
Yeah,
that right.
something
I
like
think
that.
so.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
Parasite
But-
won both last year, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't Parasite
Yeah.
win like Best Picture too? Like,
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like almost
So-
a year ago, dude. Or that was like a year and a month, but
yeah,
time fucking
That's
flies,
crazy.
dude.
What the
it
fuck?
does.
Yeah, I
Every
know.
time I watch
And
that video of them announcing it, it's so fucking hyped, dude. I get chills every time. I love it.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was so exciting.
Dude, it's so well
him
deserved.
kissing the little Oscars.
Yeah.
How many? That movie won so much. All right, this is not about Parasite.
Well, one more thing. One more Parasite. Well, not even about Parasite, but this movie was. I had a similar like level of hype for Parasite that I did this because it was pretty similar circumstances, I guess. I
Okay.
just heard about it for so long and it was just so hyped up, and it's like, oh, it's gonna win Best Picture.
Yeah.
It's so good. I'm like, all right, let me see what
Right.
this is, and I'll say in both cases it might have been a little overhyped, but I
gonna-
still
okay.
liked them.
I was just gonna ask, like, did this deliver on that hype? Because Parasite was definitely hyped up for me, and I don't want this all to just be about like, oh, let's compare this to Parasite, but just how we felt about it. And
Yeah.
Parasite was definitely hyped up for me. This movie was a little bit hyped, not as hyped up, but yeah, Parasite 100% delivered on that for me. And Minari, I don't know. I don't know. I guess just opening thoughts for me. I'm like, not a lot happened. It was a little dull. It was a little stale.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I knew that it was gonna be kind of split like this, where I feel like people weren't going to be super excited about what's going on about it.
mhm,
But I feel like that adds to the charm of it. That adds to
the
the
realness and
the general feel of it. Like it's just a fucking. Me and Taryn talked about it a little bit last night, and he was like, "Well, no, I don't want to say what you feel about it, but like how I felt about the Sound of Metal, where it was just so real that it was fucking boring for me. You know,
Mhm.
like it was just like, I'm sorry, I don't care. kind of
Dude.
thing.
Yeah. Did you feel that about Minari? Is that what you're saying? or-
No, not at all.
I was
Okay,
saying I
okay.
felt that. The way that he felt
Yeah.
about Sound of Metal. That's what I was telling him.
Yeah, so
You
he's
felt bad
feeling
about
what.
this movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
But not that harsh, as James kind
But
of.
not that harsh. Yeah, I'm
Right,
being
right.
I'm being harsh, and I'm letting my feelings of Sound of Metal. I don't even remember what I gave that movie, but
It's like a
apparently
9
I
or
hate it
something.
still.
No, you did not.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just
Nine,
kidding.
there's no
Nine.
way.
Give it like a mid
There's-
7, I think. Which was surprising. It was higher than
Yeah.
I expected
I
it to
don't
be.
remember. But if
But
I,
yeah, so like, and like that's I think that's what's like makes this movie just so it's just so real. It's not fucking fireworks. It's not
Yeah.
It's not all this smoke and mirrors thing. It's just this real, in-depth American life. which is interesting because maybe I'm going too far here. Is like, you almost think that this movie is gonna be, like about how they experience a ton of racism in
Yeah.
America
Yeah.
and all this kind of stuff, but it went in totally different direction that I wasn't
Right.
expecting it to go.
Yeah, no, and respect for that. Like they showed a little bit of the. I mean, I was gonna say like, can we call it racism or is it ignorance? And like, I guess you could say like,
Yeah.
what's the difference, right? Like, because the little kids are just like, there was a couple of things that the little
Yeah.
kids they just don't know. Like, they don't
They're
know
just ignorant.
Asian culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just ignorant.
Yeah.
And things went on, they
Yeah.
ended up being friends with those kids or whatever.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and I was like waiting on the edge of my seat for one of those fucking hillbilly
Dad.
farmers
For the-
to be
yeah, for
like,
the dad at
I was
breakfast.
like,
Yeah.
Like,
I
you
was
took
just
your
waiting.
dad. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I was just waiting for it, and it never happened. And I was like, fucking sigh of relief. Like, like
Yeah.
this is more about the American dream than it is about coming to America and seeing that shit's just as fucked up here as it was where you came from, probably.
Dude,
I mean,
especially
that's
when they're what's his name? They're his friend that helps him with his garden or farm or whatever.
Oh
yeah.
When he starts saying like,
Paul.
"Oh, I was in the Korean War," all this shit, I thought he was about to
Oh,
go fucking
yeah.
off on him and shit. I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh
yeah.
no," but he was a nice
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, my couple key like takeaways from this movie were like, and I 100% hear where both of you guys are coming from. Were like the kind of simple story, not much flash, not much fireworks, like James said. I think that's like a device though in itself to be like, people coming to America and like living these lives, they're just people and they're not like different and
Yeah.
they're not,
Mhm.
these like foreign things that they can be made out to be, right? And to
Yeah.
just like have that relationship of like, look, they, everyone who does this endures the same shit that you probably do too, right? And just kind of makes it a little bit more of like a human connection rather than this like, I don't want to say dehumanized, but it can be dehumanized, right? And in a lot of ways, portrayal of like immigrants and stuff. So that for me, I was like, okay, I like that, and I like James. I was waiting on the edge of my seat the entire time for
Yeah.
like some crazy racist shit to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and it just kind of never really did outside of like the
Yeah.
kids and stuff. And that was kind of interesting. That's an interesting choice because I feel like, and maybe this is us, like maybe we have a little bit of bias towards it, but like I feel like it, it had to have happened because this is based on the director's life, right? Like these are things
Mhm.
that happened to him when he was a child. Like his family did come and buy this. He was basically David, right? And was that his name? The boy?
Jake. Oh, the little kid.
Oh, the little boy is David. Yeah,
Yeah.
his son is
Yeah.
David.
He was basically David, right? This was kind of written from his perspective as David, but actually things that happened to him in real life. And yeah, it just seems, I don't know, it seems really intense. And even David as a character has this kind of split where he's like it kind of, or at least they made it seem that he's the one who's like Americanized, right? And not,
Mhm.
he doesn't have any of the experience in Korea and stuff. I don't know if the daughter did, that it wasn't really clear, but they definitely leaned into that a little bit too, which is also interesting because when you're on the outside looking into like a family who has immigrated and like, which is a whole ass thing, you don't really think about like all the family that they leave behind and what happens to those people, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
grandma, how can she be integrated into the society? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool to me. Like just the fact that they even
Mhm.
showed those facets of it was super interesting.
Right.
And it was interesting, like run times a little over 2 hours, but I feel like you kind of get a general sense of Jacob and Monica's. I just realized their names are just Jacob and Monica.
Well,
They're
yeah, that's
not-
like their American names, right?
They're American names, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Because like even Steve Yoon, real quick, I was looking at his Wikipedia, like he has like a Korean name that I can't pronounce, but like when you come here, like you don't want people
Yeah.
to struggle and be like annoyed with it and stuff. So you're just like, all right, I'm gonna give myself an American name,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It's
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah,
thing.
makes
Jacob.
sense.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to
but
fit in
but
or
like
something.
runtime 2 hours, and I feel like there's those little subtleties where you kind of pick up on their relationship and where they came from in Korea, where you kind of see when when Monica's kind of talking shit about like the town and this and that, like calling everything hillbilly and this and that.
Mhm.
You see Jacob kind of get a little puffy chested, and you kind of get that feeling that he probably um grew up in certain similar circumstances that he's trying to like get into in America,
Mm.
like farming or
Yeah.
some kind of ranch hand, something like that.
Mhm.
And like I don't know, they don't really like need to do flashbacks or anything like that. You just kind of I thought this movie did that really well, where they just give you a little bit of information, like with Jacob's family, like in the beginning when they're having that first fight. They're fighting a little bit about money and stuff like that, and he has to say, and he's talking about how he's the older brother of a family, and he's obviously giving money to his family,
Yeah.
back in Korea, and it's just kind of interesting to see, like how it plays into marriages and like um relationships like that, where one person can be totally supporting their family, whereas the other person in the relationship comes from a family maybe of wealth, or they're just better off, and how
Yeah.
that can bring like a little bit of strain on your family
Right.
that you're trying to create, and this dream you're trying to create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The
I like
fighting
that.
scenes were like there was points where I forgot that it was a fucking movie, dude, because the acting between the two when they were fighting and shit was like,
Yeah.
holy
Yeah.
fuck.
It's real as
It was
fuck.
crazy.
The dialogue
Yeah.
is really good.
That first fight was like really intense, and I was like, okay, all right, I get it, but I'm gonna get your hot takes ready. I think that for me, the lady stole the show.
I
The
agree with
wife?
you fully.
For sure.
Han Yeri and uh the grandma. I'm trying to look
Oh,
at the names here. The
Yoon
grandma.
Yu Jung,
God, I
Sunja
love the
is her name,
grandma
and
so much.
the grandma
Yeah,
was
like-
Grandma's
phenomenal.
amazing.
Like
Yeah.
they like not to fucking throw shade at
Steven
Steven
Yeun. Yeah,
Yeun
no, he's
or anything
great.
like that. Like he's great, but I feel like they stole the show tenfold when
Yeah.
when Han Yeri just does that one tear at the end when they're outside of that little grocer. That's fucking real shit.
Dude,
And like that's
oh my god.
I was like that was good. I was like that like sold it for me. For
Yeah,
her.
that was like probably the
Oh my
best
God.
acting performance I think in the film. It was that
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, that
like
scene.
that was
Yeah.
my favorite fight, even more so than the first fight, because that was at such this crazy tense moment where it should be a celebration, right? Like
Yeah.
the hard work that Jacob has put into this farm is finally paying off. Like he's finally, cashing in his dividends from all of this work that he's
Yeah.
done, and it's just no. It's like this family isn't going to work, and
Yeah.
the two characters kind of realizing that, and the great news that that David's heart is getting better. Like all
Yeah.
of that is
Yeah.
just
But like
still,
the thing is that you're going to always worry about this
right.
this farm way more than your family. And
Yeah.
that fucking hurts because and I feel bad for Jacob because he doesn't deserve that. And he's not doing this just to fucking prove that he can do it for himself or anything like that. He has all those underlying things where he's the older brother of a family that probably is dirt poor in Korea,
Mhm.
and he's
Probably had
trying to
take care
just
of his
make
siblings
something.
or whatever. Like
Yeah,
has so much
take care of
responsibility
his
his whole
siblings.
life, right?
Yeah.
And you
yeah.
never know if your son's gonna have to do this fucking like open heart surgery shit, or anything like that? Could you imagine
Yeah,
the
living
bills
an
You're
hour
from
away from a
that?
America. How are you
Yeah.
gonna pay for that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, I know.
and
dude.
it's
but like
it's
at the
just
same
it's
time,
interesting.
you can't you like empathize a lot with Monica because she's like, what about this family? Like, what about me, you, your son, and your daughter? You know, like we need to
Yeah.
think about all of them. And Jacob's just like, I don't know. He's not being selfish, but at the same time, he's like, he's trying to think too big picture. Like Monica's just like, we can just be what do they call them? They work at the hatcheries. Like we could just do
Yeah.
that and like be
Yeah.
fine. Like that's
Yeah.
enough. But
Yeah.
it's just not
Right.
enough for Jacob. And it's,
Yeah,
you know,
it feels
Yeah.
like he didn't. I don't know. Like it's a lot more work than he expected or something, and he can't balance it, and it's just so hard to watch. You're like, fuck, man, I want you to succeed in both things, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, speaking of like the women in this movie, the daughter, dude, I don't remember her name, but she was really good too. Like the way
Yeah,
she
those
was
are
like
daughters, man.
trying
Yeah.
to be an adult, like trying to like take care of her little brother and like help
Yeah.
him through like the parents fighting and stuff. I was like, fuck, dude,
Yeah.
that shit's
Yeah.
real too,
That was
man.
so sweet when they do their little
The
paper
airplanes.
planes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Those-
I think
Yeah.
that what sets this movie kind of apart is like you touched on with the flashbacks. There's no flashbacks. Like everything you're getting is real time. But like at the same time, even the children have such like developed personalities. Like you know what kind of people they are, right? And the like you said, Taryn, the daughter is like very much trying to like act as an adult and take care of shit, you know. But like the
Yeah.
son is kind of all over the place, and he's you know, he's still kind of trying to learn like exactly what you know what exactly is going on,
Yeah.
why he has to not be like other kids, why he can't run around and shit, like why
Yeah.
you know his parents are fighting, like adjusting to this whole reality. Like it's a lot of things,
Yeah.
and I like that they dove into that where you know you know exactly how he feels about any certain topic, right, that he comes across
Yeah, he's very
versus
very
like just
blunt.
yeah, just instead of just painting him with some kind of like child brush like most movies do. And that's the thing about kids is they are
That's
blunt. They're
real.
blunt as
Yeah, that's
fuck.
real.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
They'll
remember
tell
one
you how
time,
it is.
just a random thought. Matthew Atkins, he was on our Get Out episode. He's professionally trained singer, went to college for that kind of stuff. Some little kid told him that he sucked at singing.
Ah.
That's the
Like,
worst.
and it like bruised him forever. But anyways, protect Alan Kim, the little kid who plays
Dude,
David
oh my
Lee.
God.
He's fucking incredible.
Okay,
He's
so
the kid.
He was so
I can't
cute.
believe it.
Like he's just such a cute little boy.
Dude, okay, so I saw a video of him in real life, and it was the best, dude. They were interviewing him, and they were like, "Oh, what's your favorite actor?" And he was like, "Sonic the Hedgehog is my favorite actor, or whatever." And like, what's your favorite band? And he like said Maroon 5, but like fucked it up. And the guy,
Yes.
what's his name that plays?
He's a man after my own heart. Jesus Christ, I love this kid.
Ben Schwartz, the person who plays Sonic in the movie,
Play Sonic.
sent him a fucking voice recording as Sonic and was like, "Hey, I liked your movie. Like, I need to watch your movie. Like, I'm so glad you like, I'm your favorite actor. Like, all this shit." And he's just sitting there listening to it. He's all happy. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, that's so
I love
wholesome.
him.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm gonna cry. I love this.
Yeah.
Kid. It's fucking. He's got a career ahead of him for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I certainly hope so. Yeah. I mean, his performance was really well too. I mean, I don't know. That's the thing about kid actors, right? We talked about this in the Florida Project, right? Is like
Oh, yeah.
how much are they acting? You know, but for this, like, in a good way, it felt like Alan Kim was like acting. Like it felt like a performance, and not.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that without sounding like condescending about it. Like, no, like he was playing a part, but doing it well. You know, he wasn't
Yeah.
just being a kid. He was being a kid with all of these problems and doing it pretty fucking well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing that blows my fucking mind, dude, honestly. Like, when you think about what an actor has to do, right? Because a lot of people, I think, kind of fetishize the job of an actor and kind of pass it off as like, oh, you got lucky, you're an actor, like, for a living, that's cool. and it's, I mean, that's not to like compare it to like hard grueling work, but like to be able to put yourself in the mindset and the shoes of like a particular situation is a lot of work to do
Yeah.
it well,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
him to be this young and to do something like, okay, here's a grandma that you haven't met yet, like that's a crazy situation to be that
Yeah.
young and like act in, you know? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was like perfect. Like it's
And he
stranger
has
danger
a
right away.
ton of
Mhm.
screen time. Like there's a lot of fucking
He
screen
Yeah.
time with
does.
him.
He really does.
His relationship
Yeah,
with the
I mean-
grandma was fucking incredible.
Oh.
So good.
That's the bread and butter of this movie, dude.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but like that's the thing, is that I think it was written from his eyes, like the whole,
Mm.
and you get most of the other stuff, but like think about even when Stephen Young Jacob's character is at work, you know, David is there with him, and like he
Mhm.
learns lessons there, and he's seeing those things happen too, you know, like it never really leaves him. You know, it's kind of centralized around him. Even when like the daughter has to go off to church and he stays behind, you kind of follow him and you go to the hospital, and you know, he's
Mhm.
always really the central
He is.
person,
Yeah.
right? The kind of
Yeah.
tether that links everything. And it's I mean, to have that much weight, I don't even know if you can like comprehend the fact that like the entire movie is kind of riding on you at that
Yeah.
age.
Yeah. Exactly.
But like to pull it off too, you know,
Yeah.
crazy.
How old is
Yeah.
he? He's
Protect
7.
that child.
Protect that
7
child.
years old.
Dude, and he's a bedwetter,
I'll
man.
give my life for him.
Oh my god, dude. The bedwetting, I was fucking broke when you think it's like, oh, he's gonna play a trick and like, oh, I'm gonna blame it on grandma or whatever, and then like it just turns. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, I wanted to see them laugh at it and
yeah.
stuff. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
That was
good.
heartbreaking.
Wait,
that-
what are you talking about? What?
When the grandma has the stroke and she wet the bed instead of him. When
Well,
they
I mean, I'm
finally-
sure it
Right,
was
right,
him,
right.
right? But he was trying to blame it on her, and
Was it him?
I
No, he
figured.
No, it
had
was
his
actually
pants.
her.
Huh?
His
Yeah.
pants were
He checked his
tapped
pants and
his
they were-
pants and they were
Yeah.
dry.
Oh, I
Yeah.
just figured he was like, oh, I'll just blame it on grandma, kind of thing.
right.
And
I
it was
think
supposed to
even
be like this
thought
cute
it was
thing,
him.
and oh, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
same shit.
It was
No, that's
Broken
it-
ding
that
dong.
part was a little like
Broken
it was a little quick. It was a little quick. Like you did, and that's what's so sad is that they finally have like their rekindling moment where they're finally starting to see eye to eye, and it's almost like she takes his sickness from him.
I was gonna
and-
say
and-
that,
and
dude.
like,
Yeah.
and like
Oh my god, that's beautiful.
it is like a little heartbroken and heartbreaking, but also it's a little convenient. That's maybe my only
Well,
gripe.
yeah.
I didn't
with
think
it.
about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it did feel that way because I mean, you know, grandma's old and healthy, and then the kid's young and sick, and then it kind of just flips, right?
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
Like she's old and unhealthy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, go ahead.
I took it at a different angle where he like progressively is told that he can't run, but at the end after the fire where grandma's taken off, because I'm sure she feels a whole hell of a lot
Oh,
of things
God.
at that moment,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he literally breaks out into like a full sprint to like stop
Yeah.
her. It kind of, you know, flips over, but I didn't think about it in the way that you said it, James, and that
Yeah.
makes it a little interesting.
Well,
too.
that was the thing too, is like grandma's constantly kind of encouraging him to push those boundaries
right.
and to kind of stay like, no, like you could run, like you could help me, you know, do this shit in the swamps or whatever it is. Like, so yeah, it was interesting that the grandma was the one to kind of like push that, and then I don't know, maybe that's what saved him, right? Like maybe that's what the switch was like him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that there's, I mean, some interesting thoughts of like how there's some, you know, and this is like a weird, you know, this is going to be a weird commentary on humanity potentially, but like when grandma's watching fucking WWE
Oh,
wrestling,
man.
and she's
Yeah.
getting hyped, I was like, fuck, man, this is the shit that's just universally like people
Oh,
are just
yeah.
like, oh, fuck him up, just like, it's
Yeah.
like embedded
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
He's
it.
gonna die
And
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
these
gonna
kids
die,
could be
yeah.
she gets
killed.
worried, right?
Yeah.
There's another layer of it, but it
Mhm.
doesn't change the fact that it piques her interest, and that was, I don't know, that was just a really cool
Yeah.
Yeah.
little scene.
Mm.
I think what like that's what I freaking loved about this movie was just the comedy was just so on point, and it's just like it's so regular, it's so normal, which I think that this movie and Parasite does well. Not to make
No,
comparisons
it's
again,
okay.
but I think oftentimes in American media you see Asian people as the stoic, wise Asian. They're always like this fucking grandmaster.
Mhm.
And holy shit, this grandma was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the little sister in Parasite is fucking hilarious. Like
Yeah.
they're so funny, and it's just such a refreshing like look. I look at my family, my wife's family, and they're some of the funniest fucking people I've ever seen. And so like I feel like a lot of people don't get to see that with when it comes to Asians. They see the fucking the Fu
Business
Manchu,
person, whatever, right?
they see the
Yeah.
business person, they see the fucking karate master. The only other person is fucking Jackie Chan. That's
Yeah.
that's funny, But like this just like did so much for. I feel like for me it did so much. Like it's just like yes, these people are human too, and they're fucking hilarious. Like Jacqueline's mom is hilarious.
Mhm.
Like they're not this like eternal sage wise people that can't crack a fucking joke here or there, and I just love it. I loved it.
Yeah, Alonzo brings up the Mountain Dew stuff. That shit was so good. It's
Yeah,
bring me
Mountain
the
Dew
mountain
is-
water. It's like I don't know.
That's Jacqueline's dad's favorite soda.
Nice.
Mountain Dew, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's so funny.
Hmm.
Oh gosh.
I think it's
yeah.
mine too.
Me too.
good.
Baja
Yeah.
Blast.
It's
or-
a
It
good
is.
it's a good soda, man.
Baja Blast.
I mean, I drink. If I'm drinking real soda, it's gonna be a Mountain Dew. But I'm on that Coke Zero Life. Not a
Easy.
sponsor.
Not as fun.
Okay. If I may go on a tangent. Speaking of the kids, like when they speak in English, it's very like clean. Like they don't have like an accent like their parents. Like
Yeah.
so they're obviously. It seems like they're bringing them up to be like, oh, you need to speak English because we're in America. Blah blah blah. Like all this stuff, right? And it just reminds me so much of my grandmother. I don't know how long ago in our ancestry they came from somewhere else, but her first language is Spanish, right? And
Yeah.
I remember her telling me, like, I was like, why didn't you teach my mom Spanish and stuff? And she's like, oh, I didn't want her to like get bullied at school or like made fun of because she didn't fucking speak English. And I'm like, that is so fucking sad to me. Like I was like, I
Yeah.
wish I
Wow.
knew
Yeah.
Spanish. Like especially
Yeah.
like as a young kid, like that's like the best time to learn languages and stuff. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with my grandma. Same
Right.
thing.
I just love
Yeah.
that this family in Minari like has so much pride in their culture and their heritage, right? Like they're like, we're in America and stuff, but you're still gonna learn Korean and you're still gonna learn about your family and about the food that Koreans eat in Korea and all this stuff. And it's
Yeah.
just like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
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 I love
think
the
that-
Go ahead, Jay.
Go for it. I was gonna say I think that the interesting part of that is the movie is set in like 80s America, like
Right.
Reagan era,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Reagan was like definitely a fucking racist piece of shit. So like there's a lot of corollaries to the current time where we're seeing a lot of this like discrimination against a lot of different races, but like it on some level I think that I understand where your grandma comes from in that,
Yeah.
it's a
Protecting. Yeah.
protection.
Yeah.
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 Which is fucked up. Like
Yep.
that shouldn't be the way that it is, but fuck man.
And
It's
yeah, like my grandma told me those same stories. She learned English from PBS when she moved to the Bronx, New York from
Wow.
Puerto Rico.
Nice.
She fucking forced herself to learn English, and her English is really good. And she was just like, "No, we're in America. We speak English." I'm like, geez.
Why not both?
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
know, her Spanish is still, she's Spanish, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
Rican,
shout out to
but-
PBS, man, and like Sesame Street and all those folks that
Yeah.
really tried to bridge that gap between like minorities in America and learning and just learning, period, but
Yes.
learning and making it available to everybody and utilizing television to do it. Like
Yeah.
that was kind
Yeah.
of an incredible thing that I don't think gets enough credit.
Dude, yeah. Watching Sesame Street with my niece, I was like, what the fuck? This shit is amazing. Like, it's like, I'm learning shit. They're teaching little kids about different cultures and all this stuff. I'm like,
That's so
what
cool.
happened?
That's so
Why
amazing.
is this not the norm? I don't know. Where did
Yeah.
it all go wrong?
Yeah, there's
I mean, it
there's
didn't.
just
If you're
something-
watching it now, it didn't. I mean, it's.
I mean, I guess I meant like in my grandma's story or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just
Oh,
sucks.
yeah.
That stuff.
Yeah.
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 But there's something just so heartwarming about like a foreigner like really striving to learn English, like, and it's sad in a way that, like, for example, I'm thinking of have you guys seen The Terminal with Tom Hanks?
No.
Yeah.
Dude, so good. Like he basically, like, long story short, he gets stuck in an airport and he can't leave the airport. He can't go back to his home country. Doesn't speak any English, so he gets a magazine. He gets like a People magazine that is in English and then one that is in his language, and he's just reading it like side by side and like
Oh,
teaching
wow.
himself fucking
That's
English.
insane.
Like those stories are just so like heartwarming, like just to see that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, which is like a really interesting flip on the reality of, at least, right? Like in America, the stereotype is like if you don't speak English, like people will get mad at you, which is
Mhm.
fucked up. But like when you go to Korea, and I don't know this because I've never been to Korea, but like we've had friends that have done this, and they are like interested in the food, interested in the language, trying to speak it, trying to learn it. Like Koreans get so excited, right?
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, like you are into this, you're trying to do this, right?" And
Yep.
and it just makes me feel so fucking bad.
Yes.
Like, are we really just this much of fucking
God.
And so
dickheads
and
over
like
here?
so
Pisses me off.
stupid too, because like I have I have like one of my cousins, he's in the military, and like he was stationed in Japan for a while, and he's like, a lot of times like a Japanese person will be like, oh my God, like they're trying to they go up to him and they like try to practice their English with him. Like they're just like they're so excited about, you know, practicing their English, like learning more about our culture. And it's, I don't know, it's
Yeah,
just,
even if
Yeah.
you know like a couple words in Japanese, they're gonna be like, "Oh shit! Like you're trying.
Yeah,
like this is so
exactly.
cool." Yeah.
yeah.
Sugoi! Yeah, but like, I don't know, we're so fucking privileged, dude. Like, it in every other country in the world, everybody speaks two languages, and us dumbass Americans can barely even
Yeah,
fucking
and
get
English
by in
is the
English.
second one,
course.
right?
But like, we're so
Usually.
privileged, dude. We can go
Often.
anywhere, and people speak English, so it's like, why
Yeah.
even try to learn?
It's fucked up, yeah.
Yeah.
But living in Albuquerque,
you'll
it'd be
get
nice.
by.
It'd be nice to know Spanish, you know? Like it feels like that
Yeah.
here, right? Kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I feel like we definitely have a really, really big bilingual population here compared to the rest of the country, at least. But we're also like a very much an afterthought of America. Like nobody's like, oh,
Yeah.
America, Albuquerque, you know? I mean, Breaking Bad changed that a little bit, but like,
So you
not-
live in
not
do you
that
live in
much.
Mexico? You live in
Yeah,
Mexico?
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, I think that I honestly, I'll be straight up. I think that there's a lot of like American propaganda that kind of deters people from exploring other cultures, right? Because they're so focused on wanting people to be like patriotic Americans, America, this
yeah.
and that, right? And it's kind of sad because you're missing out on, I mean, America is one country in hundreds, and you're missing out on all this other amazing food, amazing music, amazing media, movies, shows. You know,
Yeah.
I think that, like with Parasite, especially, not to bring that back up, but it's being a bit of a parasite in this conversation, isn't it? But Bong Joon-ho, right? The quote that he gave was like, if Americans can get over the 1-inch hurdle of subtitles, You know, there's a whole other world
Their
out
world
there.
could be
Oh,
opened
yeah.
up so much.
The one in turtle. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
That's, like,
amazing.
It's
beautiful.
such a good slight against
No, but-
against Americans, and well deserved.
Yeah,
slight.
yeah.
I just I want to touch on that a little bit, Jay. I think like specifically Albuquerque, you know, we've all traveled a bit, right? Like in other like really big cities, I feel like you definitely feel the whole melting potness of America more. We're pretty small here in Albuquerque. Like if I remember going to Seattle and I was with my brother in Seattle and he was just like, "Oh, like have you ever had what kind of food did we have?" It was Ethiopian food. He's like, "Oh yeah, there's this Ethiopian restaurant down the street." And I'm like, "What the like I've never even heard of that as a cuisine." Like,
Yeah.
what? And
Yeah,
so
you know?
I tried Ethiopian food. I was like, "Yeah, this is cool. Like this is a
Fun.
different, you know."
Was it
Yeah, it
the
was great.
sponge
Yeah,
bread
it's
stuff?
the
Dude.
Angier, or I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. Alonzo, actually. Shout out to Alonzo. We went to a spot in Philly that had that, and
Yeah.
it was bomb. Like, it
Yeah,
was
it's just
really
like
good.
served on this giant like thing, and it's like a very shareable kind of thing, and you just
Yeah,
have your
totally.
bread and you just
And
pick
the
off of
thing that it's served on, like, is the
Is the-
vessel in
in-
which you eat the
right.
thing on.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's
Right?
it's
No
cool.
silverware, no nothing. Kinda
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's delicious, though.
And so like we definitely do have that in America, right? Like we have those places.
We're
where
getting
you
there,
can-
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they exist. They exist.
They for sure do.
But they're
Albuquerque, I
becoming-
think, maybe slacking a little bit. I don't know if we have too much exotic food here. We're still
True.
small. Like we're not that big, so.
Yeah.
But
But they're places that, which I think in Minari in the movie, they kind of showcase it as like the Korean market that they go to is like a place where other Koreans go
right.
to get.
It wasn't for Americans to experience Korean culture. It was for Koreans
Yeah.
to experience missing their own culture.
Right.
Yeah.
And whereas now it's like I think even if that's not the intention of the establishment, like I think Americans or a subset of Americans are getting curious enough to like go in and check that shit out and like try it and
Yeah.
we're seeing that like I mean and it's been bastardized to some extent, but like boba tea is like one of those things.
Right.
But you know, in our circle, like,
Bulgogi tacos.
I think a lot of us are pretty open to like trying different kinds of foods and stuff. I mean, I learned about pho from James, and
Mhm.
it like changed
Same.
my whole entire life. You
Changed
know,
my
like
life.
it's incredible, and like I've only been more open to trying other shit because we just you know it's not all fucking burgers and hot dogs around here. Like
Yeah.
there's so many
Yeah.
good food items in the world that like to limit yourself to one
Yep.
culture just seems like fucking
Dude,
a travesty.
I was just thinking that, like, not even just food, everything. It's like
Yeah, you're right.
it is what it is, but like America's shit isn't that cool. Like, there's so much.
We were
more
talking about it.
stuff.
We were talking about it last night. How there's just universal love languages like music and food, and
Mhm.
how just I don't know. You can open someone's heart if they would just give it a try.
Yeah.
Yep.
That always. Oh, it makes me so sad. Like knowing that new Mexican food is just here. It's so fucking good, dude. I want to try it, bro. It's the
Green
best.
chili isn't everywhere.
Yes, it's the best thing ever.
Alonzo's pissed. Alonzo's pissed.
Especially on bagels, dude. Oh my god.
Oh Jesus.
That's
not
oh
this again.
jeez. I mean, but what's wild
Ah.
about that is like it's so much so that fucking McDonald's is forced to put green chili
God,
on their
it's so
shit
good
here,
at
you know?
McDonald's too.
Like when
Yeah.
you've hit that point where McDonald's, who's literally across the fucking globe at this point, is forced to have a special menu for our fucking state, I think we did something right there, you know?
I mean, that's just
Yeah.
act locally. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Wow, we've ventured off here.
We
Very
have.
good conversations, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Minari,
That's what.
is that the movie? What are we?
I
think so,
Yeah. So okay, to take it back a little bit, the thing I was going to say a lot earlier, I enjoyed how they showed Jacob's thought process a lot, and like how there was the what is it called, water witching? Is that what it's called? Where the people are looking for water with a stick.
Oh my god.
Is that called water witching? I think it is.
I don't know.
I want to say it's
I
called
don't
water
know.
witching. But anyway,
I
that
didn't
was
know there was a
also
term.
in Coraline. That's what the little boy was doing in Coraline.
Oh shit. I don't remember.
Yeah,
that
he was
at all.
water
Wow.
witching with the stick. Yeah, but how they kind of like show Jacob's just thought process, like and he's just teaching his son like where does water go, and I don't know. Those were like really cool scenes, really powerful, and just
Yeah.
a family dynamic,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
less of
Koreans, we
He
think
loves-
use our
he
heads to
loves his
think or
kid.
whatever. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like Americans. Stupid.
Yeah.
yeah.
so true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was also a great line he had in when they were at the hatchery, and the little boy was asking about like, oh, like what do you do with the male chicks? Like what
Oh,
happens to
man.
the male? And he's like, oh, they get eliminated. And he's
Mhm.
just like, why? And he's like, well, because they don't lay eggs and they don't taste very good. And he's like, what does eliminated mean? And it's just like, yikes. And then,
Yeah.
dude, I'm not kidding. I literally paused the movie and I was just like, I need to know how to sex a chicken. Like,
Yeah, what did they?
because I
They just
need
dip it
that.
in water and look at their butthole, or what? What
They
is
look
it?
at they look at their asshole and they like push their belly, and if it has this like dimple or something, it's a male, and if it doesn't, it's a female.
It's like
and like
actually
apparently
pretty hard, or what?
yeah, no, and I watched like a 5-minute video on like how to do it. And like the guy was showing, he's like, see, this one's very obviously a male, and then he pulls a female. He's like, this one's very obviously female. I was like, that looks like the same chicken asshole to me, dude. I have
Yeah,
no
that-
idea.
That was a whole thing with them. Is like,
Yeah.
the wife's trying to get faster, and I was like, I just want to know what it looks like, just so I know how hard it is. I don't know.
You should
Yeah.
look. It's just
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to sex a chicken still, even after watching that. But yeah, like how he just explains like, oh, like what is he makes this interesting comparison to I think how he views himself. He's like, the males, we don't taste good, we don't lay eggs, and he's talking about just the male chickens, but he's like, we have to prove ourselves, kind of thing. Like he's like, we have to be more. And I think that was kind of like him saying, this is why I need to do more and not just stare at chickens' assholes all day. Like I need to have this farm. I need to be able to provide, and like I need to really prove my value to this family, and like just as a human being, right?
Yeah,
Huh.
that's good. Good stuff.
Or something.
Or something.
Yeah, but so I don't know, man. Again, I to touch back on what I was saying earlier, was like not a whole lot of shit really happens. Like I don't know. I still kind of feel that, and I think the big turning points in the film were when Grandma has a stroke, and then when the barn catches on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like other than that, like that was the kind of thing that took away for this, was like it felt like it kind of dragged. I remember looking at 40 minutes in and I was like, like nothing really has happened yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was I don't know. Maybe that was the point. It was just, this is just
Slice of life.
a family like living, like
A
pursuing the
slice of
American dream.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can elaborate on
Sure.
the
Yeah,
Sound
go
of
ahead.
Metal versus this kind of thing. Because I don't know, like it's just interesting that James doesn't think that movie was as interesting as this one, because I feel like that movie is universally more relatable than this one. Because like everyone, or not everyone, but like people that can hear would not like to lose their hearing. You know what I mean? Like that's a
Yeah.
bad thing that would
Yeah.
suck fucking ass, right? And like that's a lot of fucking people, but like this movie is like, I don't want to say specific, but like I don't know. I guess I just didn't relate to the whole immigration thing and like trying to fit in. Like I recognize that, like, white privilege, blah blah blah, all this stuff. Like I don't know. I wanted to feel more, and it just didn't get there
Yeah.
because
wanted
I
the
didn't
onions.
personally relate to it. What?
Well, I don't know. I just don't know if they like, if the writing did as an amazing job of like showing the struggle, or I don't know. There was something that felt like it was missing for me.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to like put my
Oh my god. Okay.
finger on what it was.
I don't.
And for me, like it was just like every little interaction for me was just so wholesome and important for just building the family, just building just kind of the feeling of what everyone's feeling. And I think that you kind of there's no questions left unturned, like in the sense of how they feel, about what's going on and what's happening. And I loved his helper, dude. I loved that guy. That guy was
I was
freaking.
so worried
I was
about
sketched
him.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
So
too.
At
worried
first I
about
was
him.
too, but like he was freaking.
He had a good
He was
heart.
wholesome as fuck.
Yeah.
Like he was just like,
Yeah.
you've done so good here. Like just you've done beautiful things here, Jacob. All this stuff. He's a little, he's like a hair away from the Fumblerverse. He's like
He looks
loosely
so
related.
familiar. Who is he?
He's the cop in Halloween 2018.
Wow.
Oh Jesus! I've
Yes.
seen that.
That's
I thought you
a
meant something.
stretch.
Very very loosely within the Fumblerverse realm.
Alternate universe.
But I just like he was funny as hell, and like when he's doing his church, he's like, "This is my church, brother." Carrying the cross on Sunday, and like
Yeah.
you know the little kids
Was that
here.
the same guy? I couldn't
Does-
tell if
Does
the
it seem
Who's
guy
like-
carrying the cross? Oh yeah, that was his
Yeah,
helper. Yeah.
that's
It
like
was?
when
Yeah.
he looked so
God,
different.
they looked so different.
When he's especially when he's having dinner with them, I was like, he looks
was
so
cleaned up.
familiar now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he looked
Yeah.
really familiar. I guess it's the glasses were real thick. They made his eyes look all big or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Are you
But,
sure?
like,
I
it is.
No,
have
it
to-
was. It
It
was.
is.
For sure.
God, dude,
And-
that
and-
throws
and,
everything
like,
off for me.
And like little David's like, I think David's like the little shitty ass kids in the back of the bus that are like kind of talking shit about him. I heard he shits on his floors or some shit, whatever they say.
Mm.
And David's just like, damn. He's like, this is
gotta do
really
that.
like what. Like he's just like, this is really what people like think about people they don't know, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a little bit of an awakening for him a little bit. I think he's like, oh, people really are on the outside looking in, you know, rather than being inside.
Yeah, so in chat, Alonso brings up something that I kind of felt. He says, I think he feels guilty about his participation in the Korean War and like feels fortunate to meet Jacob and like help him out and stuff. Like I kind of feel that. Did you guys feel that at all?
I think
Maybe.
that maybe it starts that way, but the scene where the farm starts to really flourish and they, everything is growing really well, and
Yeah.
we see Jacob for maybe the first time be like, "Good work,
job,
we
yeah.
did a good thing here."
Mhm.
I think they kind of get a deeper bond where
Yeah,
they
it's like
created
we did
something
this
real.
together. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
I
But
think
then
I think it changes both of them a little bit because I'm if that's
in a sense,
in the cross, that's weird, dude. I'm sorry, but that's sketch as fuck,
like,
right?
is
Like,
that part
well,
of it? Why is he doing that? I feel like there's a reason, right?
it could be like a religious thing, but like I don't know,
Yeah.
burning crosses. That's fucked up. I was expecting that at some point. It didn't happen.
he
I don't know.
wants to
That's
feel
really
the fills of Jesus.
Right.
Carry your
I mean,
cross to
like
where you gotta
he
go.
mentioned that like he was in the Korean War. Like it maybe he did. You do fucked up shit when you're in a war, when you're at
Yeah.
war, and like that.
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of people can definitely turn to religion for comfort or to
Yeah.
kind of cope with all of that. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how I took it. I don't think that it was necessary. I don't think that what's his name, Paul, was like feeling pity or anything to Jacob and like, oh, I was in the Korean War, so I need to be nice to you because you're Korean. I felt like he just was a different person now. Like, and he was just he was just like, I just need to be a good person. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. It's not about race. It's just
Yeah.
you're a fellow human being and like you're
Yeah.
my neighbor and I'm gonna treat you that way.
I
But
feel like
also
it's
it, like,
related,
goes-
though. Like all the stuff he said, I
but
think
it-
it's all related.
It like kind of goes back to like how America treats their fucking veterans. They're all these
Yeah.
damaged, broken
Yeah.
people. I mean, the people call him like a bum and he's homeless and he doesn't have a job and he's like, well, I know how to use this thing. It kind of goes to that. But like him and Jacob's relationships, like it's funny, like when Paul oversteps his boundaries and he's doing the exorcism and speaking in tongues and shit.
yeah.
Like that's funny. Like and it's funny because like Monica's willing to, they're willing to just play around with it, which is very different because I think they go to a Catholic church, right? Maybe, or maybe
I
not.
think it
In the
could have been
movie?
Christian. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Because I don't, yeah,
Oh well,
maybe,
they do
okay.
the tithing differently than I don't know, but
I'm not sure, but
I'm not
like,
super-
uh, it's kind of a slight to Jacob. He's like, oh, you're gonna let this other man come in here and try to like fix things
Yeah, you
in
said
my
he was
house,
weird and stuff. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
yeah, which was a funny kind of a role script where usually if you think about a movie about foreigners, it's about how the foreigners are different from like how like the white person be like, look at how weird this foreigner is. They're doing these things with their culture that we don't understand. But this was the script was reversed, and it was the Korean being like, white people are fucking weird. Like, what is this guy doing? Like, he was just like, you're
Yeah.
crazy. Like he would just tell him like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It
Yeah.
was like it was done well.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. I mean, still to me, dude, that this motherfucker did not look like the same guy when he was there for dinner or dragging the cross. I don't know why. But yeah, of course it makes sense that he is the same guy. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, and I think that there is a sense of like, at least initially, you're like, maybe he's trying to just, make it right with the powers that be or whatever, right? But I think that you do develop a sense of his character too as time goes on, especially when he's like in their house having dinner and Monica's like, "You're our first guest," and he's like, "Oh, I'm honored," right? Like he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
in it and
Felt
he's there.
genuine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
like
is.
Like an
He is.
interesting thing, like
He's so wholesome.
he was
Yeah.
using chopsticks too. Like he was.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
the '80s, right? This is a white man in the '80s using chopsticks. He's just like, no, like I'm gonna
He spent
try
time
to
in Korea though.
right. No, but like it was just like this is your. I don't know. He was like, he's not like, do you guys
Yeah.
got a fork? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe like that's an interesting thing that you can dive deeper into. I'm not saying that we should, but I'm just saying that it's interesting that his familiarity with the culture is because he was there for war, right? Like,
Yeah.
so he's not a stranger, he's not exactly a friend either,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the whole thing about like the entire land is cursed, right? Like the previous owner killed himself, and so like he's trying to ward off the spirits. He's like speaking in tongues in the field, speaks in tongues in the house, trying to ward off the devil spirits and all this kind of stuff. And it feels like it's his way to like do something to cleanse, like, and he obviously has that's where that saying comes, we all have our cross to bear, where we're all kind of have our own bullshit that we're going through.
Yeah.
But it's our own, and he feels like he's doing a noble thing, and I liked his character. I thought he was wholesome as fuck, and it was surprising that he wasn't a shitty
Character was
person or anything.
worrying at
Right.
first, but yeah, he definitely grows on you for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So, do we have any rounding thoughts? Anything that we want to get out before we get into our reviews?
The music was amazing. The score was so good.
So apparently Monica sings the first song.
Really? That's cool.
Yeri. Yeah, Han Yeri.
Like her character or just the actor? Probably just the actor, right?
The actress sings it, yeah.
That's a good opening scene too when they're
driving.
moving.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Moving truck and you get the whole picture without anybody saying a word.
Yeah.
Damn.
Fucking you forget about like the scene where you're almost thinking that their fucking house is gonna get blown away by a tornado.
Oh my god. The TV's going
Yeah.
on and shit. Oh my god, that's stressful.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cinematography, like just the different scenes where it would just be like the environments and stuff, like it just felt so, I don't know. I don't want to say cozy, but like just the music with the nature shots and stuff, I was like, fuck, this is really pretty to look at, this whole movie.
Yeah, especially where they plant the Minari. Like it was almost like enchanted.
Yeah.
Like it had that
Yeah.
feel to it.
Yeah, that's
It's very
oh my god, that fucking like metaphor that the grandma has with that. It's like you can plant it anywhere and it'll fucking grow. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
need to be stuck to
Mhm.
this one place. It felt like a analogy for
Yeah.
them moving to America. Like we don't need to be
Yeah.
stuck in Korea. We can do this anywhere. Like
Yeah.
oh, that was so good.
Yeah, you could take it that way, or you could take it another way where you're like, goddamn weeds fucking grow anywhere. Just fucking motherfucking weeds,
Landscaper,
dude.
by the way.
Landscaper, by the way.
Oh.
That just fucking grow wherever the fuck.
And the grandma has a lot of great lines. There's another one where David's throwing the rock at the snake, and she's like, "No, don't do that." And she says, "Things that hide are more dangerous and scary." And I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, shit. That's layers, dude." Insane.
Yeah,
Oh,
I loved
man.
all that stuff, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking
All right.
myself up right now.
I know, that's how I feel too. I'm just like, oh shit, did I like it?
Okay, I wanted to ask. I don't know if we want to do this after, so it doesn't reveal anything about our opinions or anything. But like all the Oscar nominations, I want to know if you guys think it deserves them. Obviously, we haven't seen all the other movies, but like just in general, you think you would deserve the things it's being nominated for. I just wanted to. You want to do that now? Or you want to do that later? Do you want to do it at all? It's up to you.
I'll
I don't
say it.
All
I
the
know, like what are the nominations? I don't actually
I'm looking
know.
right now. I know Best Picture. Okay, Best
And then
Director,
Best
Best
Actor.
Original Screenplay, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Original Score.
I could honestly
6.
see Best Supporting Actress. I don't know. Stephen Yeun didn't do it as much,
Yeah.
I think, as
Yeah, the other characters definitely carried more.
Yeah.
I think.
he was great. You know, I don't want to like take away, but I don't know.
I
I don't know
think
if it's
personally, I
Oscar-worthy.
think score, screenplay, and picture it can. I think it can do it. I think it can do all those. Maybe
I
even
can't see
director.
picture. I don't know.
I don't know. Like I've only seen a couple of the other ones, but like
Well,
it's
that's
really
also the thing,
hyped
yeah.
up.
What else has
Yeah.
there hasn't been so much in 2020, right? Like that's kind
There's
of
an interesting. So it did win the U.S. Dramatic Grand Jury Prize at Sundance and the U.S. Dramatic Audience Award, which is cool because they separate U.S. entries from everything else, which they call world entries. So at least they're on that tip, and the Oscars are just fucking.
I feel like it's
Well,
hyped up enough to win Best Picture. Honestly, if it's not Nomadland, which I've heard a lot.
What
about.
else has been nominated? You
Man has taken a lot of fucking awards, dude.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be
seen it.
Nomadland, but
Frances McDormand is an amazing actress, and the director of Nomadland, Chloe Zhao, yeah, she apparently made a hell of a film. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting.
I think it's gonna be that. But I think Minari has a chance just from the hype. I don't know, but it's tough.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm
All
excited
right.
for this movie. I hope it does well.
Who
At
wants
a thing
to-
that doesn't matter, the Oscars.
And a thing that doesn't matter. Yeah, that's kind of the whole argument, right? Like, who fucking cares?
It's just fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
good fun. All right, who wants to go first? Somebody take it away.
I'll go first because
Aaron.
I don't want to make it go higher based on your guys' shit. So yeah, like I said, throughout, it kind of was boring, but not in the worst way. Like it was still, like the slice of lifeness of it was good. Like it was, the dialogue was fucking amazing, the acting was amazing. Like it was totally believable, and I loved that about it. And then like the in between stuff was just so beautiful. The music, the nature shots, and all this stuff. Like this is a gorgeous ass movie in and out. Like I may not relate one to one with everything that happened, but like not everyone will, obviously. So that I don't know how to describe that part of it, but made me feel some things that I wasn't expecting. But I guess I think it was a little overhyped personally because of all the shit I've been seeing for the last like half fucking year about it. I've been trying to watch it for months. I'd Google it every like couple weeks, like, is it out yet? Is it out yet? Is it out yet? Like just waiting for it, right? But yeah, I don't know. What else? Oh my god, dude, I always fucking blank. I'm like, I'm ready, and then I'm not ready, and then I'm just looking at you guys, and it feels like I've been talking for 10 minutes straight. I'll say $20 well spent
Just kidding.
when I rented
$20
this shit.
well spent.
I don't know. Feels like a one of a kind movie in a weird way. Like I don't know what else is out there that's like this. Like A24 has done it again. I want to say it, bro. They found
that was mine.
They found the good
line.
shit once again. Oh my bad. But I don't know. I guess I think I was overhyped, and I wanted it to make me feel a lot more. I was like, I'm gonna watch this alone. I'm ready to fucking cry, and it didn't necessarily happen. And I guess the ending we didn't bring up that kind of was weird to me. They fought so much, and they were like ready to separate so often, like so much, and then at the very end, they're just like fine. Like they're like, oh, we came here to save each other, and then they literally save each other in the fire. And I was like, are they like, oh, we did it, we saved each other, now we're okay? Like it just felt weird to me, that whole end part. But nonetheless,
the leap of faith.
Sure. That was I like that the wife was ready to fucking help with all that, like trying to get the food on. So I was like, all right, that's cool. But that's life, Taryn. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I'll wrap up that. The grandma and the son's bond was fucking incredible. Love that shit. Fuck, dude. I don't know. I came in with like an 8, but I definitely think that's too low now. But I don't know what to say, so I'm just talking and trying to think while I'm talking.
He's stalling.
8.5. Fuck it. Solid.
8.5. All right. That's solid. That is solid. 8.5 coming into Taryn. Who wants to go next? Who's ready to go next? I can go if you guys aren't.
James to go, but
Okay.
that's just me.
I'll go. Yeah. I just saw ads for this movie, just with Mr. Steven Yeun, and I was like, okay, I was never a Walking Dead guy or anything like that, but I saw a little bit of hype surrounding it, and finally we just randomly watched it on Sunday, and we did the quick change this week, and for the better. Yeah, this movie is so it's just a story from the heart, and I feel like you just see the director's heart, and just you just there, like it feels like you're there at the cozy campfire with the burning barn, and you're just listening to his nice little story, and that's that's what I love about this movie, is that it's not showboaty. It's not trying to blow you away with anything that's just fucking crazy.
Oh.
It's just the good old American dream. I feel like with all the bullshit that's going on in the world, with all the hate that the Asian American community are getting because of COVID and all that bullshit, people need to fucking see this movie and see that these people are just like us, trying to rise and grind, get that bread, brother.
Dude, can I
and
interject?
they're gonna do it by any means. Yes, sir.
Real
you
quick,
can.
something that I was going to mention earlier with the whole relatability thing. And speaking of the events that happened this past week, the tragedy of the 8 people that were murdered by this fucking psychopath, dude. Like one of the son of one of the people that was killed has been like speaking out about this, and her story is so similar to this, dude. Like she was like,
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's exactly Korea, but like she immigrated to the U.S. to like give her family a better life and all this stuff, and she's just trying to fucking live her life, dude. And this fucked up shit happens. And when I was reading that, like that's when I was like tearing up. I was like, God damn it, dude. This world is fucked up. Like that shook me, dude.
Hmm. And I feel like this is, oh, I'm going in hot take territory here. When we're talking about how fucking different human beings are, but how fucking at the same day we're all fucking flesh and bones. And I think this is up there with do the right thing territory. And that's what's crazy about this movie is that this movie is not focused entirely around racism. It's just it's just a different perspective that's never been um shown before. And particularly my favorite thing about this movie was the conversations that I was able to have with my wife after the movie. We spent like a good 45 minutes talking about her life and how her parents are immigrants from Vietnam and they had a dollar store, and how those kind of things you do just the parallels between her life and this. And I think that's where this movie, I mean, I've never experienced that, but like it was just strong. And I love I just love when I can have a conversation like that. Um Protect, what's the child's name? Protect the child. The Mandalorian.
Yes.
That was him.
Protect him at all costs. He's absolutely incredible. We didn't even get to talk about how Mountain Dew does look like piss sometimes, and that's always been a joke. And the comedy in this movie blew me away. It's not like crazy jokes or anything, but it's just like so
Just real life comedy,
relatable.
right? Just this normal
Yeah,
shit. Yeah, it's good.
and just the whole thing about Minari, the wonderful, wonderful Minari. And it's just about the resilience of humankind.
Yeah.
And 8.8
An
for me.
8.8
Yeah.
of James. All right. Solid score. Solid score. So, all right. I'll go next. Um, yeah, so I guess kind of what I was hinting at earlier, I think, I don't know, like Taryn, I was really hyped for this movie. Maybe not as hyped for it, as hyped for it as Taryn was, but I was like really excited for this. I was just like, this movie is gonna make me fucking cry. Like I'm gonna like cry watching
I
this.
was so
I
ready.
watched the trailer and I was just like ready to just, you know, I was just ready for it. And I don't know, it just kind of felt a little bit uneventful. It felt like they didn't, I don't know, they just didn't make me feel as hard for the characters as they could have. And like that was kind of the thing that was that was actually good about the movie is the movie didn't lean into it didn't it didn't have to be a movie about like racism. Like that could have been such an easy thing to do, right? It's just like, oh, let's just make a movie about foreigners and like how they experience racism. Like they didn't go that route. And we kind of mentioned this in our review on Soul, where I was just like, oh, like they could have went more into black culture, they could have went more into this. And like it just because they're black, just because they're Korean, like it doesn't mean that that any content that they create has to be that's the focal point. Like it's only about this. It's only about their struggle, or it's only about their story. Like they're fucking like all of us were people. And like this this movie demonstrated that really well. Is just like, yes, these are Asian Americans, but like they're people and they're also just trying to live the American dream. And like that realness, I don't know, it just really hit home. And like especially at a time now where there's just so much division and so much just crazy shit going on, where like just to take a step back and be like, we're all fucking people. I don't know.
We all
It's
bleed the same blood.
the same blood, yeah. Like so it was refreshing to watch that, and for it to just not be about that. But yeah, I mean, things that we've kind of touched on, the cinematography was beautiful. We touched on a little bit earlier about like where they planted the Minari was just like enchanted. Like it had this aura around it, just this mystical vibe to it. And yeah, it was beautiful. I think the acting was amazing. The people, the females specifically stole the fucking show. Like Monica and Sunja, like they just their characters just did amazing jobs. Like especially the grandmother before and after her stroke, that transition, like her performance during that, like her performance post stroke was like really well
Oh
done.
my
It was like
god, heartbreaking, dude.
really fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I felt the most, I think. Um, yeah, so gosh, all of this, I don't know. I think before this conversation I was leaning maybe a little bit closer towards mid sevens, but this has definitely bumped me up. And I think I'm right at about an 8. A nice solid 8 out of 10 for me on this one. So Jay, let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, classic case of going last.
Yeah.
Beautiful cinematography, beautiful score, incredible acting, I would say. Um, it's a movie that I think, we on Instagram we shared the poster that's like the movie that we all need right now, and I think that that's very true. Like, this is a movie that a lot of people need to see, and it doesn't really matter if you can relate to it or not because there's a lot of things that you can take from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be more important right now, given the state of the world, everything going on, the things that happened in the last week. Like it's important, like Adrian said, to take a step back and realize that we're all just people, and that I mean, racism is like bullshit, and it was almost kind of like invented for a lot of terrible reasons, and people are for whatever reason, they they are drawn to it, and it's all bullshit. Like there would be no America without all of the cultures that people bring to this country. There wouldn't be, the and it's becoming easy, and it's becoming almost mainstream to criticize America now, which is interesting because it's something that you haven't seen in the last like 30, 40 years, in especially in mainstream media, is the constant criticism of America today. But like I think that people take it the wrong way. It's not that America's a bad place to be, it's that we have a lot of room to grow, and that we could be better, and that there's a lot of bad shit that happens here, and that we need to fix it. But it's also like these are the things, these are the people, these are the cultures that make America what it really is. And it's rare to be able to go to a place in the world where you can experience all this different stuff, right? In the same
Yeah.
kind of geographical zone. And I think that rather than, you know, playing into that division, we need to lean into that more because that's a strength and it's a big one. And it's what makes, this country a sought after destination. It's why people immigrate here. Like it's it has the potential to be something that I don't think it is now. I don't think it has been in the past, but I think that it could be in the future. And I think that this movie does a great job of just, it doesn't give you the ugly side. It doesn't give you that. And maybe not everybody experiences that. And that's okay.
Mhm.
Like, I think that there's other pieces of media out there that will do that for you. But it does give you the human side, and it does give you, if you can't relate to it directly, you can at least relate to it in the fact that like you've been through something similar. You've had fights with your spouse. You've had a relationship with your grandmother. You've, sought after some kind of like nostalgic food, right? Whatever it might be, you can take a piece of that home, I think, from this movie. And that's big and that's important. And yeah, I mean, I think that I forget who said it. It might have been Hitchcock and it might have been Kubrick, but they said that films don't change the world, but films change people and people change the world, right?
Yeah.
And I think that this film plays its role in that phrase. So for me, like that's big, that's huge. That's a I want to spike it up and give it a 9. Just after this conversation and after everything that we talked about, like it can feel draggy, which is it sounds like a bad thing, but I don't think it's a bad thing for this movie.
Yeah.
And it may turn some people off, and that's okay. But like, I think that everybody should watch it still,
Yeah.
and that's rare from me, I think.
All right.
Yeah, dude.
9 out of 10 for Jay. That brings us to a collective 8.575. Yeah, solid 8.5. What were you going to say, Taryn?
I don't know. I was thinking like just talking about like everyone's saying like we all kind of were expecting some bad shit to happen or whatever. I was wondering like a rewatch, like rewatching it, or knowing that nothing crazy happens. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it would be a lot more effective for a second watch personally.
Maybe, yeah.
So I could be more
see that.
focused in on the relationships and interactions and stuff instead of waiting for some fucked up shit to happen.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention that we didn't mention was little boy throwing a dip, playing cards
my
with his
God.
homie.
How do you not
Best
throw up, bro?
fucking-
I was
I
like,
don't know, dude.
20 and I
I
threw
was,
up almost. Fuck.
Yeah. We've all
That
dipped
reminded me of my
before.
first dip.
Yeah, dude.
My only dip, I guess I should
Your
say.
first and last dip, yeah.
Man, dude.
But just the sharing of cultures where he was teaching him his game and
Yeah.
you know, sharing food with Paul and that kind of stuff. The one thing that so I was gonna give it a little bit of a lower score, but Taryn, you bumped my score up
Oh shit.
because my biggest gripe, which I forgot to mention, was typically in Asian cultures, women are trash, and if you have a daughter, they're just nothing important. But I was expecting, well, I wasn't expecting more from the daughter's point of view. I wanted a little bit more, but when you mentioned that, like, she takes that mother's role and stuff like that, I was like, okay, well, they did a little something for me, and I feel like that helped me a little bit because I always have gripes with that kind of stuff where the men, like my wife, has always had that problem being the daughter of the family.
And Steven Yeun's character says, you know, when he talks about the chicks, right, like males need to prove their worth kind of thing. It was like that whole
I guess kind of
added to that a little bit. Yeah, cool. So again, we rated this an 8.575. We would love to know what you guys think about this movie. Be sure to follow all of our socials. Leave us a comment anywhere. Find all of those at filmfumblers.com. For this episode, we will be leaving some links where you guys can educate yourself and donate if you would like to help stop Asian American hate. So we'll have those links in the description for this episode. But yeah, stay tuned. Next week we will be reviewing The Outsiders. We were originally going to be doing that this week, but we're pushing that back to next week. That is going to be March 27th. So yeah, stay tuned there. But other than that, I think that does it for us tonight, guys. See you guys next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Stop Asian hate,
Don't
you
be
dumbasses.
racist.
# Stop Asian Hate.